So if we run the program, we type in the menu.sh shell script to get it running. We're presented with the menu as shown here. So I'll just exit from that and just quickly go into the menu code. So you're presented with the menu as seen in these echo commands here, and it's waiting for our response, which must be between 1 and 5. Between 1 and 4, it will run the shell scripts. So I have 4 files: add contact, remove, search, and mail. And if the user selects 5, it checks for any buffers that may be created with the other shell scripts and deletes them if they're present, and then exits the file or exits the script if 5 is selected. So if we select option 1 to add a new contact, it's going to ask you to enter a new contact name and address, and also the mobile phone number and the email address of the new contact. And then it tells you that your new contact is added. And then it tells you to press enter to return to the main menu, or input C to add another contact. We press enter to return to the main menu. And if we enter option 3 to search, we can see that this entry has been added to the database. So the add contact script is reading user inputs for name, address, phone number, and email. And it is doing some basic checks to ensure that the inputs are correct, and then we use while loops that it blocks the user proceeding unless they input the correct format for each entry. And we use an echo command to append that to the contact details.txt file. And if it hasn't already been existed, it's created with this command. And we use some, I use some numbers here inside the command to truncate it so it will fit inside the table that I create in later scripts. And there's some trailing spaces appended to the actual file, to the information as well, so it will be appropriately formatted. So if you select option 2 to remove a contact, it'll prompt you to ask you to enter a search term for a user's name. If we enter in a search term, it will give up the results for that search term, and it will give you the ask you to enter the line number to delete that particular entry. So the line numbers are presented on the left. If I select option 2, it would prompt me with the option I've selected and ask me, am I sure if I want to delete this entry? If I put in Y, the entry will be deleted, and then I input D to delete another contact. It'll you can see in this prompt where it asks for a search term, you can also input all to see all the contacts in your contact list. Then it will show you all the contacts with the row numbers on the left. And if I want to choose another contact to delete here, I can. But also, I can continue to add additional entries to delete to this list. So at this stage, if I enter in the number 3 for the third entry, it will add this person to the list. And then it will prompt you to say, do you want to delete all of these entries? If I select yes at this point, it will delete all of the entries that I've selected and put into that list. And if we run a search, we can see we are left with the one entry that I didn't delete, but everything else that I selected in that process has been deleted. So looking at the code for the remove script, the user this script waits for a user input for a search term for a user's name. That search term for a user's name is checked against the first column here, seen in this awk command. The first column of contact details.txt is filtered with a grep search, and a case insensitive grep search with that name that has been inputted. So only the name columns of the contact detail.txt file are checked for this name search term. This while loop will prompt the user appropriately given the inputs and outputs that occur, and will proceed when the appropriate action has been taken. Then the result from this filtering and searching is put in as a grep search to the contact details.txt file, and then the result of that search is printed using the awk command with row numbers, and the result of that is given to this buffer.txt file, which is a temporary file that this script uses in order to provide information. Then after this, the user is presented with a header for the contact list, and underneath that header, the information for their search is presented to them. So whatever has been, this awk command prints the entire buffer.txt file, which has the results of their search, and also is piped through a sed command, which removes the field separators that are in the text file to separate out the columns. If there is only one result, then the user is prompted with a simple question if they want to delete that particular entry. But if there is more than one, they're prompted to enter the line number that they want to delete, input all to delete all of them, or input menu to return to the main menu. So this, if there is only one search entry, it's put into a variable called selected entry, and we use an awk command to print the details of that entry, print all of it. So the buffer.txt file is all printed, but we use sed commands to take away the row numbers on the left, and we also use sed commands here to take away the spaces and also to take away the field separators. So if the user presses yes or Y for that, then we use a reverse grep on a file called contactsbuffer.txt, which is essentially just the same as contactdetails.txt. And the reverse grep on these delete terms which are related to the selected entry produces a contactsdetails.txt file without that search term. So in the case when there has been more than one possible entry to delete, and the user has to pick, so the user enters a number, and that number then from that number it creates a selected entry variable by using an awk command and the nr variable in the awk command with the entered number to print only that entry in the buffer.txt file, take away the number on the left, and also take away the spaces and field separators in that entry. It then appends that information to a file called buffer2.txt, and then it will print out that information here underneath the header, and then ask you if you're sure you wish to delete this entry, and then if you want to enter another entry to delete, to input that number now. In the case where the user does that, enters another number, here we see that the results thus far for our searches are entered into a file called buffer3.txt. Then the previous number that they've entered for an additional contact to delete is taken from this file buffer3 and appended to buffer2.txt. So in buffer2.txt, we've created a list of entries that we would like to delete. And then here it asks you, it presents them all with the header and asks you if you wanted to delete these entries. And finally, when it gets to the stage that the user is happy that they want to delete these entries, it takes the selected entry, creates delete terms, and does a grep search to search between from the start of that delete term to the end of that delete term, and does a reverse grep to finally leave out the content to output the context details.txt file that we need with the deleted entries. So the search.sh file, the search script, is quite straightforward. The result is based on a grep search, case insensitive grep search on the contact details.txt file, which also is piped through a sed command to remove the field separators. We also do a count of the results that are found by piping the results through an awk command, which increases a variable for each row. And there are the usual formalities in a while loop to ensure that the script does the appropriate thing depending on the inputs and outputs. So option 4, press option 4. We got the mail option. It says please enter the email address you'd like to send an email to. So input all to see all contacts, or input menu to return to the menu. So if I input all here to see all contacts, and I can, again, similar to remove, I can select the row number of the entry I want to send an email to. At this point, I can also add a recipient to this list. Then press Y. I can enter the email subject, hello, enter email message, hello, then email sent. So I can also input M if I want at this point for the script to run again. And I can also input all here to email all contacts. So the mail script, what we're doing is it's waiting for an input for a search term for email address, and what we do here is we print the fourth column of contact details.txt, which is printing just emails and is using a grep search on just the email column. Then that result, we do a search on the entire contact details.txt file based on that result of the search within the emails, and apply that to buffer.txt file. So that's the entire all the fields for the contacts go in there. And then I present the user with a list of their results, but only printing off the names and the emails, so column 1 and column 4. So you get a list of just names and emails to pick from, but they also have the number rows beside them, so the user can actually just type in a number to select the appropriate person to email. When that number is put in, we have a selected personal variable that initializes, that uses the number that's put in as the NR variable to select that number and print just that row to the buffer from the buffer.txt file. It makes that the selected person variable. It also uses the sed command to take away the number on the left and also take away any spaces in it. So that selected person is appended to buffer2.txt, and buffer2.txt is essentially going to be the list of people we're going to email at the end of the script. Then the user then is also presented with their choices under the header. So it has the header and then the person that they've selected, and it makes sure that, yeah, you sure you want to email this person. Yes, you can enter a yes or no, or it also gives you an opportunity to add another recipient, where you can input the appropriate row number to add another recipient. If your choice was to email all contacts, then the entire contact details list goes to the buffer2.txt file. So it forwards all the information to the buffer2.txt file. So at that point, if you chose to input another number to add an additional recipient, then we have another selected person to variable, and we use this input number for the NR variable. We print just that line from the buffer file, taking away the number and taking away any spaces. And we append that to the end of the buffer2.txt file to add that to the list. So then we present the user with the list again under the header of the new buffer2.txt file with the additional entry that they've put in. It asks you, are you sure you want to email these people? It gives them another opportunity to add another recipient. Then if the response is yes, we create a variable emails, which just prints column 4 of buffer2.txt, which is basically just printing the email column of the selected people to buffer2.txt. Or if the user earlier had selected all, the entire contact details list would have went to buffer2.txt, so it would be printing all of the emails. It takes away any spaces in it, and for the sed command, and then we run this through. We ask the user to enter an email subject and an email message, and we run this through this command here, which sends the message through using the mail command and the list of emails.